Yunli will give your enemies a proper sword slash, and today I'm gonna tell you how to build her best. My name is Juice and let's get into it. Or dare I say, this is the fresh squeeze, because for the record, I was originally not going to cover Yunli. But thanks to Noah for real, I was for real able to cover Yunli. So this video is to all those Yunli fans in my audience who really wanted to see me cover her. So what relics does this child obsessed with metal sticks deeply desire? None other than 4-piece wind-soaring Valorous. Yunli adores the 12% attack from the 2-piece, and the huge damage dealt increase to her nuclear ultimate is absolutely appreciated by her. This is Yunli's signature relic set, so you should absolutely be farming for it, no questions asked. Yet if you're a Yunli fan in training that still needs to farm the newer set, then there's no shame in going for 4-piece champion of Streetwise Boxing. The 2-piece's physical percent is highly formidable, and of course since Yunli has a taunt, she'll have no problem stacking up the 5 hits needed to bolster up her attack percent stat. 4-piece Longevue Disciple also surprisingly comes into play. The HP is useless, but for every time the equipper, being Yunli in this case, gets hit, their crit rate gets an increase of 8%, and since this can stack up to 2 times, that's 16% crit rate for Yunli. 2-piece mix and match sets include 2-piece follow-up percent, physical percent, and attack percent. As for her 2-piece string and orb, 2-piece Duran, Dynasty of Running Wolves works well. Since at max stacks, Yunli can gain up to 25% more damage dealt with her follow-ups, and a free 25% crit damage once she's maxed out that effect. Yet note that this will stack faster in dual DPS follow-up attack teams, because it also accounts for an ally's follow-up attack in order to stack it up. Inert Soul Soto is honestly really close to Dynasty, since you're getting both your ultimate and follow-up attack damage buffed by 15%, which Yunli absolutely adores. Plus, who doesn't love a good free 8% crit rate? Good 2-piece on the whole, and since it's so old, you most likely already have it farmed up with good substats. No need to go farm a whole new Dynasty set for her in this case. Main stats are simple, go for crit rate percent, attack percent, physical percent, attack percent. You want attack percent over speed because the counter character doesn't run speed. This is because you want the enemies to take more turns in order to, well, you know, trigger the counters. Also, ERR is not worth it compared to attack percent because using more weak ults is not as strong as using a fewer amount of more powered up ults, though it does also kind of depend on your team. When it comes to stat breakpoints, we're going to assume that you're running the double attack percent setup. They are 3000 to 3500 attack, 90 to 100% crit rate, and 120 to 130% crit damage. This is because Yunli gives yourself so much free crit damage with her ult, so there's no point in building a lot of crit damage. You can invest all that into crit rate anyway. Certain light cones can help you reach that breakpoint faster as well. Overall, Yunli's relic choices are fairly varied, and since Streetwise is an old set and Longevue is paired with the infamous Hackerspace, you should be able to slap something together until you can upgrade to a fully kitted out 4-piece wind-soaring Valorous set. This destructive little beast has quite a few light cones at her disposal. Obviously, Dance at Sunset will be your very best. A huge taunt increase, which is very important for a character who works off of counters, and the massive crit stick is excellent. She can also get up to 72% more follow-up attack damage after her ult has been used twice. Great light cone that is of course miles above the rest due to being tailor-made for her. Clara's light cone also obviously has synergy with getting hit. It provides Yunli with attack percent, damage percent, and some mild self-sustain, which is pretty cool. Great alternative option. The main reason as to why Signature is better is due to that massive taunt value and even more inflated stats. With that being said, this is still a very good light cone for her. Fall of an Eon will be your most free-to-play friendly option, being a 5-star light cone available from Herda Simulated Universe store. Some stacking attack percent and some damage percent if you're fighting weakness-broken enemies. It will of course be one of your most solid choices if you're a free-to-play without any of the other 5-star light cones. Under the Blue Sky provides a solid amount of crit rate and attack percent and will serve as a decent 4-star light cone option. It gets especially good at higher refinements. A Secret Vow can also be effective, but you'll mostly be relying on the first half of the passive, because the second half is conditional in quite the awkward way, especially since Yunli hasn't got much to do with HP. Otherwise, a good light cone pick. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you've made it this far and are enjoying the video. Discord down below in both the pinned comment and description as well if you're interested. If you've long since benched your blade and have no real usage for his light cone anymore, then look no further than the unreachable side. 50k DPS is unreachable for me. Anyways, this works great on Yunli since she can happily utilize the crit rate and the damage increase from being hit. The HP is sort of irrelevant though. Shattered Home technically works as a beginner 3-star light cone, but swap this out for something else that's been mentioned as soon as you can because it has no specific synergy with Yunli's particular mechanics. Yunli has various accessible options which will serve you just fine, while also having lovely higher end options that will act as a significant upgrade. A fairly balanced pool of light cone choices in my opinion. Who will be on Team Yunli? Well, there's Yunli herself of course. Let's go over her support cores and why they work. Sparkle Ting Yun is very good because Sparkle advances forward Yunli for more actions, and more skills equals more energy, and this is also very effective as Yunli already doesn't build any speed, and Sparkle is just general quality of life thanks to her hefty skill point regeneration. Since Yunli has a whopping 240 max energy limit, Ting Yun can provide a chunky amount of energy to Yunli via her burst, which is sick. Otherwise, you could even swap Ting Yun out for Robin. This is because not only does Robin advance everyone forward by a frick ton, but she also provides a special follow-up attack buff which Yunli obviously appreciates very much. You can even replace Sparkle for Hunt March 7th, because then Robin is buffing the entire team and March 7th's own follow-up attacks. She can also play dual carry of Topaz, Jade, and even Clara since they all deal in follow-up attacks. I'm showing Topaz for this particular example. When it comes to sustained, Ho-Ho is the best. We'd love more best in slot use cases for our chronically afraid little creature. There's a few simple reasons as to why you'd rather use Ho-Ho than anyone else. First off, Abundance units have a lower taunt value than Preservation units, so you aren't divulging follow-ups away from Yunli. Yunli's maximum energy is 240, but her cost to cast it is 120, so Ho-Ho gives her double the energy. This is because Ho-Ho gives energy based on max ult cost, and since Yunli's total energy cost is 240, she effectively provides double. Ho-Ho's Energy Restore puts her above all of her Abundance units, but any of her Abundance character will work too, thanks to their lower taunt value. Lynx also has a taunt with her skill, which I'll point out as well since she's a more budget-friendly option. Preservation units will work fine, in fact shout out to Aventurine since his follow-up attacks are very solid, especially with Robin around, but their higher taunt value which draws counters away from Yunli makes them difficult for me to recommend, especially because Preservations may also wear taunt light cones. Keep that all in mind. How exactly does this fun-sized nuclear bomb work? Her normals just deal one physical strike to an enemy. Okay. Yunli's skill will heal herself based on Yunli's attack and also a flat amount depending on trace level, then dealing physical blast damage in which one main foe takes the brunt of the hit and the two beside him also get a smaller dish of damage served up to them. Then for her ult, which is the main meat of her kit, she'll consume 120 energy and will go into a parry state until the end of your next teammate's turn or the next moving enemy's turn. Her counter's crit damage will be increased by 120%, and there are two different kind of ult types that she can deal. One for getting hit during her ult, the other for not. If she doesn't get hit within that one turn period, then she unleashes the slash form of her ult, which deals one huge physical blast attack, nuking an enemy and doing less damage to the enemies next to them. If she does get hit, however, oh ho ho my friend, you're in for quite the treat. She deals the Cull form of her ult, which does the same thing as Slash, except you also get 6 extra instances of physical damage to a random enemy. So while both forms are strong at their core, you obviously want to aim for Cull thanks to those extra damage instances. Note that any follow-ups that come from her ultimate are considered ult damage by the game. Her talent is simple enough. When Yunli gets hit by an enemy, she regenerates 15 energy and launches a counter, and that counter will deal physical blast damage. Yunli's technique gives her the ward effect, which lasts for 20 seconds. The next time she enters a battle by either attacking an enemy or having an enemy attack her, she'll immediately open up the battle with a Cull form ultimate attack. And get this, with 80% increased damage. In MOC, where enemies can't run from you and you always have technique points available, this is a very impressive technique to be able to open with. Now for Ascension passives. Yunli's A1 will make it so that the next slash attack after already doing a slash will automatically be converted to Cull. This reduces the RNG in her kit by quite a bit, which is really sweet, resulting in more overall DPS. Unless you love gambling so much that you're willing to miss out on extra DPS, I don't know, you tell me. Her A4 will reduce the damage she takes by 20%, and she'll also resist enemy crowd control better. Really neat A4 that's worth getting as soon as you can, though assuming that you're playing her with Ho-Ho, it's not like you'll be short on cleanses either way. Regardless, super nice quality of life whether you're using Ho-Ho or not. Yunli's A6 provides her 30% attack after she deals a counter for one turn. Nothing groundbreaking, but it's an appreciated buff nonetheless. Chase priorities are simple, go for this. Yunli's ultimate is the main meat of her kit, so prioritize that huge sword for sure. Then chase after that splendid talent of hers and finish off with her skill. You can ignore her basics as nothing in her kit scales off of them. Swords are not cheap, especially if you want the best quality around. So if you want to fund Yunli's obsession, then let's talk Eidolons. Increases the damage of her alt forms and also provides more damage instances to Cull, which is a highly welcome increase. A good E1, it's worth your time if you're interested in the wild E2 that's coming up afterwards. This is a really freaking good E2. Death Ignore is the rawest form of damage increase that this game has to offer, and for an early Eidolon, it's nothing short of nuts in value for Yunli. Worth it if you're Yunli's biggest fan. The upgrade to your ult and basic is well appreciated, a decent E3, I don't have much more to add here. 50% more effect res after using either of her alt forms is pure quality of life, not needed in the slightest, don't go for this on its own unless you're aiming for E6. Upgrades are final 2 traces which needed it, fair enough, a decently appreciated upgrade. Yunli will only ever trigger her call form alt with his E6 regardless of whether she gets hit or not, and her follow-up attack will gain 15% more crit rate and 20% more physical res penetration. Very delicious upgrades, but for an E6 this feels kind of underwhelming in my opinion. There's better out there, especially after Penacony's brought us some insane E6s like Acheron's E6 and Firefly's E6. I'd go for S1 first, since the massive taunt value of a light cone is especially valuable, and it's miles above the rest in terms of the stats it provides Yunli. Then I'd chase E1 and E2, and I'd say you could either stop there, or go all the way to E6 if you're interested. Yunli is a satisfactory physical counter DPS who will for sure power creep your Clara if that's what you're looking for. The nukes are big and tasty, so if that's the kind of playstyle you're after, then Yunli might be right for you. Hopefully this video was able to get you your Yunli nuking her enemies into next Tuesday from this Xianzhou with love. This has been Juice signing out, and if I had a nickel for every time Hoyoverse released a Claymore wielding character with the same voice actor, I'd have 2 nickels, but it's pretty awesome that it happened twice.